Okay, Godzilla, the king of the monsters, versus Voltron, the defender of the universe. This will be the Lion Force version of Voltron. Now, I've done an awful lot with Godzilla. When it came to Voltron, ironically, it's hard to get lots of good data on him, which is really bizarre, being that it's one of the most well-known, at least on the American side, when it comes to the giant robots. Essentially what you have is you have 5 giant lions. Each lion, its color represents a element that has control over, Yellow has control over sand, blue, water, and stuff like that. And they all combine to form Voltron, the defender of the universe, probably one of the most powerful, robots. And of course, it is a group of 5. Each wheels roll in line when they form to make Voltron. They all work fairly well in unison because they've got decades of experience versus, of course, Godzilla from the Millennium series. And as always, it is intelligence, fighting ability, strength, speed, durability, invulnerability, energy projection, versatility, and the ever-important X factor. If it's 5-4, chance of the person with 5 would more than likely win. 6-3, a greater chance. 7-2, 8-1. If it's 0-9, there's pretty much no way, unless for the magic of Deus Ex Machina, that the person with 0 is going to be able to be the victor. Let's get right through this. Intelligence. You've got 5 relatively well-trained people in their giant robot versus essentially a giant lizard. Intelligence goes to Voltron. Fighting ability. Godzilla is a brawler versus, again, people who have a very in-depth knowledge of the use of their robots and the use of Voltron. Strength. This one is kind of a toss-up. You have how powerful are the servos and the other pseudo-mystical abilities you have a Voltron versus just the raw power of a radioactively enhanced lizard. So I'll give the strength advantage to Godzilla in this one. Speed. Okay. Voltron has at times, depending on who's working with him, had a certain amount of near hyper speed. So you got one who's pretty adept to fighting in space as well as fighting on land. So you got a decent amount of additional speed versus what you've got with Godzilla. So speed advantage going to Voltron. Durability. This is how well can you take a beating and still come back. I would give this one to Godzilla. Godzilla has essentially a hyper level of regeneration. Invulnerability. How much damage can you take before it starts to really take a toll on you? I'll give the edge this one to Godzilla. Godzilla can take a tremendous amount of abuse. His relatively bulletproof, missile-proof, major cannon, which would be lightning cannons. So a lot of durability, a lot of invulnerability on Godzilla's side. Versus Voltron, who kind of, in most fights, got beaten down pretty effectively, but then still finds a way to win. Energy projection. So now energy projection, versatility, and X factor. Ironically, for overall just raw energy projection, Voltron kind of controls the powers of the elements. That's pretty impressive. This is probably the first time I'm actually going to give the overall raw energy power output to Voltron on this one. Godzilla's breath is ridiculous, but controlling multiple elements simultaneously. And then versatility. Again, multiple elements controlled simultaneously. Even when the lions are by themselves, they're a pretty formidable force. So Godzilla either fight the 5 lions by themselves, Voltron, and either way there's still a tremendous amount of power just generated by Voltron. X factor. This comes down to the blazing sword. Essentially the ridiculously powerful, awesomely designed sword that Voltron can produce, which defeats pretty much all of his opponents, including Godzilla. So if Godzilla were to get in a fight with Voltron, Voltron has got so much more abilities and depth of abilities, as well as intelligence and fighting acclimate. And then at the end of the day, that blazing sword would be enough to put Godzilla down.